Once upon a time, deep in the heart of Whispering Woods, lived a friendly squirrel named Sammy. Sammy was no ordinary squirrel. While most squirrels spent their days collecting nuts and scampering from tree to tree, Sammy had a keen sense of adventure. His days were filled with explorations of the forest's hidden corners, chatting with the birds, and listening to the stories of the wise old owl who lived in the tallest oak tree. Sammy's bushy tail twitched with excitement as he scurried along the branches, eager for his next adventure. He loved making new friends and was always on the lookout for something extraordinary. One sunny morning, as he darted around the forest floor in search of acorns, something shiny caught his eye. It was half buried beneath the leaves, reflecting the sunlight in brilliant flashes of gold. Curious, Sammy hopped closer. As he brushed aside the leaves with his tiny paws, he uncovered an old, yet dazzling pair of glasses. The glasses had golden frames that seemed to sparkle, and tiny stars etched along the rims. Sammy tilted his head, wondering who had lost them. "I wonder if these belong to the owl," he thought, "or perhaps they've been here a long time, waiting to be found." Sammy carefully picked up the glasses and, feeling a strange urge, decided to put them on. As soon as he slid the glasses onto his tiny face, the world around him changed in the most magical way. The trees seemed taller, the sky brighter, and he could see things that no squirrel had ever seen before. Birds flew by, leaving sparkling trails behind them, and the flowers on the ground whispered softly to one another. "Wow!" Sammy exclaimed, twirling in excitement. "These must be magic glasses." He couldn't wait to show his friends. Sammy dashed up the nearest tree, his heart pounding with excitement, eager to share his discovery. As he ran, he noticed something peculiar. Along the forest path, which he had walked hundreds of times, there was a tiny flickering light that he'd never noticed before. It was as if the magic glasses had revealed something hidden. Being the adventurous squirrel that he was, Sammy decided to investigate. He scampered down to the flickering light, which led him to an enormous rock at the edge of a stream. Sammy had seen the rock before, but with the glasses on, he now noticed a small, almost invisible door carved into the side of it. Sammy tapped on the door lightly, unsure of what would happen. To his surprise, the door slowly creaked open, revealing a winding staircase that spiraled down into the ground. A soft light glowed from within, beckoning him to enter. "Oh, this is going to be fun," Sammy squeaked in excitement. Without a second thought, Sammy scampered inside, his tiny paws pattering down the stone steps. The deeper he went, the warmer the air became. As he reached the bottom of the staircase, he found himself in a cozy underground chamber. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were lined with shelves full of books, glowing lanterns floated in midair, and at the center of the room sat a small creature Sammy had never met before. It was a mole, but unlike the moles Sammy had seen in the forest, this one was wearing a tiny wizard's hat and held a glowing wand. He was muttering something under his breath as he stirred a cauldron bubbling with rainbow-colored liquid. "Hello," Sammy called out. Waving a paw, the mole jumped in surprise, nearly dropping his wand. He looked up, blinking through his own pair of glasses, which were just as magical-looking as Sammy's. "Oh, dear. I wasn't expecting company today. Who might you be?" "I'm Sammy, a squirrel from the Whispering Woods. I found these glasses just outside, and, well, I couldn't resist putting them on," Sammy explained. "And now, everything seems magical." The mole adjusted his hat and smiled warmly. "Ah, I see you've found one of the enchanted items hidden throughout the forest. My name is Merlin, and I am a magical mole. The glasses you found were crafted long ago by the forest's greatest sorcerer. They allow the wearer to see the magic that lies hidden in the world." Sammy's eyes widened with wonder. "That's amazing. Does that mean there's even more magic around us?" Merlin nodded, twirling his wand in his paws. "Indeed, young squirrel. Magic surrounds us, though most creatures never notice it. The glasses you're wearing will help you see beyond the ordinary. However, magic must be used wisely. You've stepped into a hidden part of the forest, where adventure and mystery thrive." Sammy's heart raced with excitement. "What kind of adventure?" Merlin's eyes twinkled. "Well, Since you're already here, perhaps you can help me. You see, I've been working on a spell that will allow me to create something special, a floating raft that can take us to the farthest reaches of the forest. But I'm missing one vital ingredient, the glowstones from the crystal cavern. It's a dangerous place, and I haven't been able to go myself. If you help me gather them, we can embark on an adventure like no other. Sammy's tail twitched with excitement. A floating raft? That sounds incredible. I'll help you find the glowstones. Merlin grinned and handed Sammy a tiny map. This will guide you to the crystal cavern. But be careful, young squirrel. The cavern is guarded by frost sprites who don't like visitors. They live in tiny snow forts, and they'll do whatever they can to keep you from taking the glowstones. Sammy took the map and tucked it into his pouch. I won't let the frost sprites stop me. I'll bring back the glowstones. With the map in hand and the magic glasses still perched on his nose, Sammy set off on his journey. He scampered through the forest, following the path marked on the map. The forest was full of wonders he had never noticed before. Thanks to the glasses, he could see the faint traces of magic left by other creatures who had passed through these parts long ago. After a while, Sammy reached the edge of the Whispering Woods, where the trees thinned and a wide, rocky hill stretched before him. According to the map, the crystal cavern was just beyond the hill. Sammy bounded up the rocks, his paws barely touching the ground as he climbed higher and higher. At the top of the hill, he saw the entrance to the cavern, a shimmering archway made entirely of crystal, glowing softly in the fading light of day. Taking a deep breath, Sammy stepped inside. The cavern was breathtaking. Walls of crystal sparkled in every direction, casting rainbows of light across the floor. At the very center of the cavern, glowing softly like embers, were the precious glowstones that Merlin needed. But before Sammy could take another step, he heard a rustling sound. He turned to see several tiny figures darting around the cavern entrance. They were the frost sprites, tiny creatures made entirely of ice and snow, each one no bigger than a pine cone. Their eyes glowed blue, and they wore tiny helmets of frost. Surrounding the glowstones were their tiny snow forts, perfectly built with high walls and glittering turrets of ice. One of the frost sprites stepped forward, shaking a tiny snowball in its hand. "Who dares enter our cavern?" It squeaked in a high-pitched voice. Sammy stood tall, his tail flicking behind him. "I'm Sammy, a squirrel from Whispering Woods. I'm on a quest to help Merlin the magical mole gather glowstones for his spell." The frost sprite narrowed its icy eyes. "Glowstones? You think you can just take them? These are ours. You'll have to get through us first." Sammy hesitated. He didn't want to fight the frost sprites. They were only protecting their home. He thought quickly, trying to come up with a way to get the glowstones without causing trouble. Just then, Sammy remembered something Merlin had told him. Magic must be used wisely. The glasses. Sammy reached up and adjusted the magic glasses on his nose. With a clear vision of the sprites and their snow forts, he realized that they weren't as menacing as they seemed. In fact, their tiny snowballs were harmless, and their forts, though sturdy, had a few gaps that Sammy could easily slip through. "Wait," Sammy said, raising a paw. "I don't want to fight. How about a trade instead?" The frost sprite leader tilted its head. "A trade?" "Yes," Sammy continued. "I'll give you something in exchange for just a few glowstones. You see, Merlin needs them to build a floating raft, and we'll be able to explore the far reaches of the forest. Maybe we can even take you with us." The frost sprites huddled together, whispering among themselves. After a moment, the leader turned back to Sammy. "What do you have to trade?" Sammy thought hard. He didn't have much with him except for the glasses, and then it hit him. He pulled out the tiny pouch of acorns he had gathered earlier that day. "I have these," Sammy said, holding up the acorns. "They're the tastiest acorns in the whole forest. I gathered them myself." The frost sprite leader stepped closer and sniffed one of the acorns. Its icy face broke into a grin. "Deal." With that, the frost sprites quickly dismantled part of their snow fort, allowing Sammy to approach the glowstones. He carefully collected a few of the glowing gems and placed them in his pouch. The frost sprites eagerly took the acorns, nibbling on them with delight. "Thank you." Sammy called as he turned to leave the cavern. The Frost Sprite leader waved. Good luck with your adventure, Sammy the squirrel. Sammy hurried back through the forest, his heart pounding with excitement. The journey had been challenging, but he had done it. He had the glowstones, and now he could help Merlin complete the spell. When Sammy returned to Merlin's underground chamber, the magical mole was delighted to see him. You did it! You found the glowstones! Merlin exclaimed, clapping his paws. Sammy handed over the precious stones, and Merlin immediately began adding them to his bubbling cauldron. With a few flicks of his wand, the potion shimmered and glowed brighter than ever. The room was filled with the scent of wildflowers and the crackle of magic in the air. Now, Merlin said with a grin, watch as the magic unfolds. With a final wave of his wand, the cauldron's contents swirled and shimmered. From within the glowing liquid rose a wooden raft. Only this wasn't an ordinary raft. It floated in midair, sparkling with the same magic that surrounded Merlin's chamber. Sammy's eyes widened in awe. It's amazing! Merlin hopped onto the raft and waved Sammy over. Come, Sammy. Our adventure awaits. Together, the friendly squirrel and the magical mole climbed aboard the floating raft. With a gentle push of his wand, Merlin guided the raft out of the underground chamber and into the open forest. They soared above the treetops, drifting through the magical world that Sammy had only just begun to discover. As they floated higher and higher, Sammy knew that this was just the beginning of his adventure. With his new friends, the magic glasses, and the wisdom of Merlin, there was no telling what wonders lay ahead. But one thing was certain: Sammy's life would never be the same again, and so, with the wind in his fur and the stars above, Sammy the friendly squirrel set off on the greatest adventure of his life. The end.